Hi, and welcome to my presentation on ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics is one of the biggest achievements that the Egyptians have ever come up with. In our chapter 3, on pages 102 and 103 of our textbook, you will find all the information that you need about ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Now, the big idea is that the Egyptians made lasting achievements in many things, including writing. The main idea is that the Egyptians developed a writing system using hieroglyphics. So let's find out. So let's talk about these hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics was the Egyptian writing system. The Egyptians learned to write hieroglyphics on papyrus. This is a long-lasting paper-like material made from reeds. I'll show you a few pictures in a minute. Scribes wrote on papyrus using brushes and ink. Historians have learned how to read hieroglyphics after discovering the Rosetta Stone, which was written in 3 different languages. Hieroglyphics, a later form of Egyptian called Demotic, and Greek. I will also show you a picture of this as well. The key to a lost language. This stone was found in 1799 near the city of Rosette along the Nile Delta. There was one story written on the stone, and the same story was written 3 different times in 3 different languages. Again, hieroglyphics, Greek, and Demotic. The Rosetta Stone, again, definition is a stone found along the Nile River that helped us to understand the Egyptian language. It was the key to understanding this lost language. If it wasn't for the Rosetta Stone and Samuel Champollion, who actually deciphered it or figured out what it meant, we probably wouldn't know as much as we do today about the ancient Egyptians. Here's a picture of the actual stone. So, overall, overview. Hieroglyphics. Around 3000 BC, Egyptians began to create a writing system. They started using picture writing, or hieroglyphs. Okay, and hieroglyphics is a picture writing that stood for ideas, objects, and sounds. If you were a scribe, you had to know over 800 different hieroglyphs. And the hieroglyph is each individual letter or symbol that stands for a word or a letter. And if you were a scribe, you had to know all these. This would help the pharaoh to manage Egypt. Just like our president gets reports from different government bodies, and they tell him all about the different things that are happening with taxes or with war, and many times they supply a report, and that's in writing. And this was the reason why hieroglyphics was developed, so that the pharaoh could manage Egypt better and more efficiently. Scribes were the professional writers who kept records. If you were a scribe, you were considered to be pretty powerful in a way, and more towards the middle upper class of the social pyramid. Scribes did write on papyrus, the first paper, and again, like I said before, the Rosetta Stone was the key to unlocking all of this. Hieroglyphics could stand for objects such as bread, or for sounds such as S. Hieroglyphics are the main reason we know about the lives of the ancient Egyptians, because now that we've been able to decipher it, we can read about the stories of the ancient Egyptians. Again, they were used to keep records of taxes and possessions. And it was even invented before Egypt was unified or brought together. The scribes would actually travel throughout Egypt to keep records of details, great and small. Scribes were actually even the ones who were in charge of the farms in ancient Egypt. You would think the farmer would be in charge of the farm, but actually it was the scribe that had to stay there and write down how much food was harvested so that the pharaoh knew exactly how much food he had to deal with. Because remember, the pharaoh pretty much owns Egypt, and the pharaoh would receive half of everything that was grown or made from farmers, artisans, craft workers, whoever. Scribes were highly respected because few could do it, and it was a great honor, and boys began training when they were about 10 years old. After the boys' scribers mastered a simple type of hieroglyphics used for record keeping, they graduated to writing on papyrus. Originally, probably just practice on like broken pottery and things like that, but papyrus was more, it was considered an honor to write on papyrus. Papyrus is a reed plant that grows along the Nile River, and that was made into paper for the Egyptians. The papyrus plant is called papyrus, and paper is referred to as papyrus. And our word for paper comes from this word as well. Also, they would make papyrus reed baskets as well. Here's a picture of what papyrus looks like growing along that river. What river do you think that is? If it's in Egypt and it's running through it, it's the longest river in the world. It is the Nile. Don't be in denial, people. We're studying the Nile. Here's a picture from page 103. It's a graphic on the top portion. It shows you Egyptian hieroglyphics used picture symbols to represent sounds. So you can see here, sometimes a symbol would represent a sound. Maybe it would represent an object, or maybe it would actually represent an idea. All right. So here you can see there's different ones, and it says, what does the symbol for a ruler look like? You can see here, it looks kind of like what? Kind of like a question mark, or maybe like a shepherd's crook. Okay. Many times in ancient Egypt, the pharaoh would be shown holding a crook and a flail in his hands, and this is the top of that was the top of the crook there. And here is something for you to use on your projects if you do decide to do one of them on hieroglyphics. This is a simplified version of the hieroglyphic alphabet with a translation, kind of like your little Rosetta Stone. The English letter A, this is the hieroglyphic for A. The letter B in English, this is the hieroglyphic for B. You'll notice that actually, if you look at all these pictures, many of them are what? What are you seeing here? You should see animals, like birds and snakes and snails and lions, maybe, or owls. Or you also might see objects like cups, or if you look at D, if you hold your hand out, it kind of has that same shape, and B is obviously probably a foot. Or maybe it's a folded towel like letter S. It's actually like a folded towel. This might be a loaf of bread. All right, so understand that many of their hieroglyphics came from everyday life, and might be even the water. Z is like a knot in rope, right? All right, so that is my presentation on hieroglyphics. If you need more information, please hit up Google. Make sure that you find a professional website to research from, or you can also use some of the links that are in the tic-tac-toe activity. All right, and don't forget to use your textbook. Okay, good luck.